for covering this press conference. We certainly didn't intend to call it, but Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate, as we're well aware by now. I do have with me today, in addition to General Wascom, who heads up GOSEP here, Dr. Sean Wilson, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation and Development, also Butch Browning, the State Fire Marshal. We've got Brigadier General Keith Waddell, Adjutant General of the National Guard, and Colonel Lamar Davis, who is Superintendent of Louisiana State Police. Obviously, we are having this press conference because of the weather that we've experienced across South Louisiana over the last 24 hours plus. Yesterday afternoon, I did declare a statewide state of emergency because of the severe weather. As you know, today we closed state offices in 4 parishes, those being Calcasieu, East Baton Rouge, Iberville, and Ascension. If there are going to be additional closures tomorrow, we'll make that announcement later this afternoon. As you all may be aware, some parts of Lake Charles received up to 15 inches of rain in localized areas, which caused, and by the way, this fell over just 8 to 10 hours, an extreme amount of rain that caused extensive street flooding, and we know that many residences and businesses were flooded as well. And for the people in Southwest Louisiana who've been adversely affected by this weather event, our hearts are truly breaking. I'm sorry that you are having to deal with this again. It was just a couple of weeks ago that President Biden was in Lake Charles to discuss infrastructure and hurricane recovery. And here we are with another natural disaster that has set back those recovery efforts and caused damages, quite frankly, in places that were not damaged by Hurricane Laura or Delta. I have been in frequent contact with Mayor Nick Hunter, and we continue to coordinate to ensure that all requests for assistance are being met. And of course, here at GOSEP, we're talking to all the parishes around the state routinely, and that includes Calcasieu Parish and the folks there at their emergency operations center. I'm doing the same thing here in East Baton Rouge with Mayor Sharon Weston Broome. Areas from Baton Rouge to Gonzales appear to be the most impacted in southeast Louisiana, with upwards of 13 inches of rain that caused extensive flooding in that area. We know that flooding extended for a big part of the river parishes as well. A lot of folks have been making comparisons already to 2016, especially the August flood. And obviously, anytime you have severe flooding of this nature, that I think there are comparisons to be made. This time, though, we've had breaks in the rain that we didn't have before. The water and river levels have been able to recede before the next round would roll in. And I think one of the things we're benefiting from this time is that we haven't had a lot of rain up north. And so the rivers and the creeks are able to fall a little faster this time, and the water is not backing up as far, and it is receding more quickly. However, if you're one of the people with water in your home or water in your automobile, then that's of little consolation to you. So this is a very serious weather event, and we're certainly aware of that. And unfortunately, more rain is on the way. We are anticipating additional rainfall tonight and tomorrow morning. The forecasts are very imprecise, and the first people to tell you that are the folks at the National Weather Service and the meteorologists. But we believe there will be more rainfall tonight and tomorrow, and then there should be a break and then an additional round of storms coming into the area on Thursday. But the situation remains fluid. These forecasts cannot be precise, so it is extremely important that everyone pay attention to your local authorities, watch the news, make sure that you're looking at at the Weather Channel, and then if alerts come across for flash flooding, whether it's a watch or a warning, please make sure that you heed those. While we hope that the worst of this rainfall is behind us, we can't be sure of that, And because the ground is already saturated and the rivers and creeks are high already, it doesn't take as much new rainfall to have a very serious impact with respect to more street flooding and flooding of homes and businesses. Unfortunately, there have been some fatalities, and the investigations are not complete, but this is what we know. There was an incident in West Baton Rouge Parish last night involving a submerged vehicle. It appears that one of those individuals is deceased, another was injured, and yet another is missing. And again, that investigation continues. There's also been reports that we're working to confirm that a body has been found in a flooded vehicle in Baton Rouge on Bluebonnet Boulevard, and obviously that investigation continues as well. And then there are up to 2 additional deaths in Baton Rouge that may be linked to power outages. So altogether, that's 4 deaths, 1 person injured, 1 person missing, and all of that remains under investigation. And we do not have a report from a coroner linking any of the deaths to the flood event, but that may be forthcoming. So with what I just said, that should be a good reminder to everybody to please monitor the situation and then follow all of the guidance that you're given, whether it's from local officials or from the warnings, the flash flood warnings and watches. And the worst place you can be in a flash flood is in your vehicle on the street. And it is very dangerous, and you should certainly never drive through water if you're not 100% sure that it's safe to do so, especially at night, because a flooded roadway is such that you don't know where the road is and where the ditches are, and the ditches are always going to be deeper, and this is extremely dangerous. And so please stay off the road when these warnings go out, unless it is absolutely necessary for you to get out, and that should be some sort of an emergency. There are currently 10 weather-related road closures in the state. This number is frequently changing, and we've had a break thus far today, and so the situation is improving. Most notably on I-10 between Segan and Highland Road here in East Baton Rouge Parish, it remains closed in both directions because of flooding, although the state police and DOTD are working now to see whether they can open 2 lanes of travel through that stretch. But until that gets open, they're going to be diverting traffic onto US 61, Airline Highway. Please visit 511la.org for real-time information on road closures and road conditions. That's the best place to go. That's 511la.org. It'll tell you exactly which roads are closed, which ones are open, and when there's a change in the status of a particular road, that'll be reflected there as well. There have been a number of search and rescue missions that have been undertaken in the last 24 hours, and I have the numbers from the state agencies. There are many more than this that have been performed locally, primarily in the Lake Charles and in the Baton Rouge areas. But I can tell you that in Lake Charles, the Wildlife and Fisheries rescued 110 people and 15 pets. In Lake Charles, the State Fire Marshal's Office rescued 78 people and 5 pets, and they rescued an additional 8 individuals in Baton Rouge. And in Lake Charles, the Louisiana National Guard rescued 19 people and 2 pets. When it comes to shelters, we're encouraging everyone to pay attention to your Parish Office of Emergency Preparedness. They will be making announcements. We don't have any state-run shelters, and there were only 2 shelters in operation earlier today, one at Trinity Baptist Church in Lake Charles, and as of about noon today, I think there were 120 or so individuals there. That shelter was depopulating. We'll see what the situation is later today. And then here in Baton Rouge, the mayor set up shelter at the airport for individuals, and there were about 30 individuals there. But as far as sheltering operations, those are all going to be locally run, And so we encourage people to make sure that you're following the guidance of your local officials. As of noon today, the Public Service Commission reported 10,430 outages, and that was down from 25,000 outages at 6 a.m. So power restoration is happening relatively quickly. If you are without power, however, and you plan on using a generator, please make sure that you do so safely. I'll remind you that we had a number of fatalities after the hurricanes last year when individuals used generators. They did so too close to their home or maybe under their home in a crawl space or in a garage or under a vent or a window. Please make sure that you don't do those things and get the generator at least 20 feet from your house in a well-ventilated area. And then if you're going to change the fuel or refill it, make sure that it cools off completely before you do that. Finally, with hurricane season approaching and beginning in just a couple of weeks on June 1st, it is a reminder to everyone to please get a game plan. You can go to getagameplan.org. You will see that number one on the list is to get your COVID vaccine. That's part of getting a game plan, so that if you have to leave and be sheltered, either in a congregant sheltering, a non-congregant sheltering, or move in with a relative or a friend or anything like that, that it's safe for all of you to do that. So please go to getagameplan.org. Let's make sure that everyone gets vaccinated, and that's the best way to start hurricane season. Speaking of COVID, today we did report 494 new COVID cases. And there are currently 299 individuals in the hospital across the state of Louisiana. And very sadly, we are reporting 11 additional deaths over the last 24 hours. As of today, we are at 10,500 even in the number of people who've died from COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic here in Louisiana. And I know that people don't necessarily want to think about COVID or vaccinations when your house is being flooded or you're worried that more rain is coming and so forth, but it is extremely important that we do that. 29.5% of our population is fully vaccinated, and that's a decent number. That's a lot of shots, but that means that 70% are not fully vaccinated, and so that means we have a lot of work to do. If you need to get information about where to get vaccinated in Louisiana, visit covidvaccine.la.gov, or you can call 1-855-453-0774. Again, please continue to monitor your local news and follow the advice of local officials. Not sure yet when the next press conference will be. I know we're scheduled to have one on Thursday. That was the regularly scheduled press conference. You see these individuals that I called out here today, so if you have a question that you want to direct to one of them, you may do so at this time, and I'll take your questions as well. Yes, sir.
Governor, I just want to make it so far 4 total deaths. Is that what another missing?
Well, first of all, none of this has been confirmed by a coroner as being caused by the rain event, the floods. However, at this time, there are investigations into 4 deaths. There's 1 injury and 1 person missing. That's correct. Yes, sir.
Is there high water equipment or anything deployed?
There certainly is, and I'll. By the way, it's all over the state, and I'll let General Waddell come up and tell you how his forces are arrayed. I did authorize him yesterday to go to 250.
Yes, sir.
In terms of the number of National Guardsmen activated for this particular incident. Overnight, I think he pulled the trigger on 114 of those individuals. Of course, that could have changed since your briefing this morning, but go ahead.
Yes, sir.